It'll be 70 years ago that we heard a knock on the door of our cabin on board a ship that was a Swedish freighter. And it turned out to be the captain who came to our door, and he said, "You must come to our radio room immediately." And we all trooped on down, and here was the announcement of the surrender. And I can't tell you, what joy everybody felt, because these had been difficult years.
Betty Jane Gerber knew about those very difficult years firsthand. She was a child growing up in a war zone. Her father, Nelson Johnson, was the US Ambassador to China during the Second World War. He had put his family on the ship to get them out of harm's way.
The fact of the matter is that our lives and our hearts really were in China. That had been our home, really, for most of our lives.
She still cherishes her photos from that time. She was a little girl separated from her father, who was in Chongqing, while the family remained in Beijing during the height of the war.
We have a lot of pictures of the city being bombed. Of course, the Panay had been sunk. While we were in Peking, we would be often, they wouldn't accost us personally, but our car might be stopped, and they'd drag the chauffeur out to beat them up. And my brothers remembered seeing somebody have his head cut off, because they were just standing there, and they were really brutal to the Chinese.
Months after the fighting ended in Europe, the war would end with Japan's surrender. Her father would eventually oversee the occupation of Japan, and Betty Jane still has melted remnants he brought back from Nagasaki. They serve as reminders of the destructive power of war and the importance of education to keep history alive.
It's so important that we look at our history, warts and all, and understand it, because that's the only way that we can inform the future. And it's important for us, I think, to survive this time when we have enough technology to destroy everything, to take this responsibility very seriously. And so I think that education is just imperative at this point.